Hi, and welcome to Infertility Unfiltered, where fertility experts and warriors are joining forces to provide you with tips, tricks, information, support, and a whole lot more so that you can take back control of your life and get your baby on board. Hi, I'm Jennifer Robertson, and today we are joined by Carolyn Anderson. Now, Carolyn is a degree qualified naturopath with an extensive background in fertility nursing. She specializes in natural solutions to women's health issues, fertility, and family wellness. Having been in the health industry since 1999, Caroline has worked as a nurse in the top IVF clinics on the Gold Coast and in London and Auckland. She's now based in Burleigh Heads, which is my hometown, where she operates her own clinic called Sage Naturopathics. And today what we're going to be talking about is naturopathic care during IVF treatments and the do's and the don'ts. And if you stick around to the end, Caroline's going to tell you how you can get your hands on her free download in terms of reducing toxins. So thank you so much for joining us, Carolyn Anderson.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, before we dive into the do's and don'ts while you're undergoing IVF treatment, can you just tell us a little bit about what led you down the path of fertility?
Yes, well, as you mentioned, I am a nurse and started that many moons ago, and I have always through my nursing career been looking after women's health initially, and eventually when I was over in London that led into working in IVF, and so from the early 2000s through till just a few years ago I worked with couples and various stages of their journey in the IVF process. Yeah, so I have always loved working with couples, doing that, and working with women and their various women's health issues. And then eventually I started looking into natural options because I could see that there was, IVF is amazing and it is, brought joy to so many people's lives by being able to have a baby. But if somebody can be in the best health possible when going into their IVF treatments, they can really get the most out of it. And so
absolutely. Healthy eggs, healthy sperm equals healthy embryos, and then a healthy body for it to go back into. If we can get everything working in the best way possible, then that is great. And it's great just as a woman or a person to be able to feel good as well. So if you can help us out with that, that would be great. So we're going to talk specifically today about IVF and the things that you should be doing and the things that you shouldn't be doing in terms of your line of work. So do you want to walk us through a couple of the do's?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think starting out, it is actually really important to find a naturopath that is knowledgeable of the IVF processes, because it's very specialized. It's a very niche area, and there's a lot that changes from day to day and week to week within an IVF cycle. And so choosing somebody that actually really does understand the cycles and the medications, the goals of the medication, I think is something really key when starting out. That is, if you are wanting to do the IVF really properly alongside of the naturopathic care.
And
so
can you just give us just before we dive into that, maybe if you can just give us a quick 5 minutes on, or a few snippets on, like, what actually is naturopathic care for those of us that don't know?
Sure. So naturopathic care, it is holistic care. We are looking at the individual person, so it's not a disease name or pocketing people. There's somebody with endometriosis or PCOS. Yes, while there is common themes, we would look at the individual and how that is presenting for them and what issues that they face in their life with those conditions. And then it is through drawing on different natural options. So it may be looking into, what deficiencies there may be that are then meaning that the body's not working optimally. It may be that the diet is not as good, and what we need to do to correct that. But it's also, so there's a lot of diet and nutritional advice, lifestyle advice, and then supplements and herbs to kind of help the body heal itself and get it back on the path it should be.
And rebalance, basically.
Rebalance, absolutely. And a big part of my role is education. So often people don't really understand their own body, their own cycles very well. And so, I'm trying to empower people to look after their own health. So that's another really big part of naturopathic care.
Which I think is really important, because a lot of us go into this journey and go, well, look, just give me a pill or something like that to correct it. But it's not fixing absolutely everything. So this is basically teaching women how to look after their bodies for the rest of their lives, because I feel like it's a little bit, we're not really taught a lot of that in school or growing up, how to actually take care of this amazing body that we've been given, because there are so many moving parts to it. And we just kind of assume that this is just the way it's meant to be, whether it's painful periods or fertility struggles, or if we've got endometriosis or PCOS. It's just one of those things that we just kind of go, well, this was the hand that I was dealt, and now I just have to work out how to, live with it. But you delve into the details of, okay, well, how can we see if we can balance it?
Yeah, absolutely, and you're spot on. And it is also, the body is constantly giving you clues, and it's learning to recognize them as clues, and oh, hey, maybe I am getting a bit out of balance here, and then having the tools to draw on to be able to rebalance yourself.
Absolutely. And I think with IVF, it's really important as well, because you're putting all of these things inside of your body, like all of this stuff to really, it's not natural, to try to do all of these things. So what are some of the things that we can be doing when we're undergoing a cycle? And obviously this is just general advice. This is not specific to any one person, because obviously you can't give advice on a specific case. But just generally, what are some things that they should be doing?
Yeah. So absolutely, nutrition is a real basis. There's no point in spending a whole lot of money on lots of different supplements if your diet and the core area that you're getting your nutrients on a daily basis is not right. So, getting that cleaned up from the beginning, and it's never too late. Sometimes people kind of go, oh, I've already started the IVF cycle and I'm only a couple of weeks away from, knowing outcomes, kind of what's the point? But any time, it's never too late.
And I think a lot of it in our mindset, and I know me personally, when I was undergoing IVF, I was kind of like, oh, well, they're taking care of me. So I'm getting it. They're just going to get my eggs and the sperm, and they're going to do what they've got to do and then put it back. And you almost kind of go, well, that's, that's okay. There's nothing more that I can do, because I'm paying a lot of money for them to create a baby for me.
Yeah. And they do magical work, but they can only do as good a work as the eggs and sperms that they're handed.
Yes.
So, and I think there's also, again, to go back to that empowerment of, you feel like there's a lot that is completely out of your hands, but doing some of these things like sorting your diet out is something that you do have control over, that is modifiable, and so it's the best place to start.
And it's not just in terms of your diet, it's not just about creating healthy eggs and a healthy place for your baby to go. It's actually good for your mindset, and it gives you energy, because you really can't be brave when you're tired. That's one of my favorite quotes. You can't be brave when you're tired. And so we get a lot of that from our food. And so just preparing ourselves mentally is a great way through our diet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But to go back to your question, I mean, some of the other do's, I would say, is that preparation, both kind of, you know, we've talked about nutrition, but mentally as well. I really encourage that people, you know, create space so they have space for the ups and downs, but don't completely clear the diary so you've got absolutely nothing in it, and then you're just sitting and staring at your navel wondering, you know, what's happening next.
Absolutely balance, absolute balance.
Yeah, so filling it with lots of things that nourish you, that like emotionally and mentally, things that make you feel good. So whether that be, you know, going and having acupuncture or a massage or something like that, or catching up with a girlfriend to go see a funny movie. You know, there's even science around laughter and the positive effects that it can have on your fertility. So filling your diary with as much as that, but allowing space for the ups and downs that are inevitable with it. And so kind of preparing yourself for that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah, so no.
And what about, so diet, so nutrition, mindset, and creating the space. What about supplements? Is there anything, because I've spoken to so many women and they'll read something and then all of a sudden their cabinet is full of all of these different supplements, which, you know, they're just taking, and it's really expensive. They don't know what they're for. Some could be fighting against each other. Like what's your premise on supplements? Like, where do they start?
Yeah, that's a really challenging one to answer, because that is when the individualised care does come in. So absolutely, they need to be on a really good quality multi. There's a lot of kind of below par ones out there. So really a good quality, if nothing else, that's where you should start and spend your money on that.
And how do they choose something that's good quality? Is it because there's so many over the counter? Is it something that they should go and see a naturopath for, or a doctor, or get prescribed? Like, is there a general, you know, good quality, not good quality marker that they can use?
Yeah, and I guess that's I guess the ones in the bargain bin at Woolies, generally speaking, are not your best quality ones. There are practitioner-only multis that are prescribed for specific people, and it tends to be, generally speaking, the ones in the health food store are usually a bit better quality. So it's a bit difficult for me to answer that one, because there are individualised times that I would draw on different multis.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to your question, there are a lot. Yes, I totally understand that people are on Dr. Google, kind of saying, just give me anything, just tell me what to take and I'll take it. But there are different nutrients to draw on for specific conditions and times that I really draw on certain ones more so than in other cases. So, I mean, CoQ10 is a common one that a lot of people are on, and that supports the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the egg. It goes through a lot of changes, so, you know, quite a few people draw on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I guess that is where the art and the science come together of naturopathic care. Of, okay, well, it's all too easy to suddenly find yourself on 15 supplements because you've gone, I've heard that might help, I've heard that might help, I've heard that, and you just add it in, and then you can't really you're not sure why, and you can't see the wood for the trees with the supplements. But that is where, you know, quite often I'll get somebody and I'll take them off quite a few things that they're on and say, you know, it's probably not as relevant as let's spend money here on these specific ones. So I mean, across the board, it's really important to be getting lots of antioxidants. Again, that's through nutrition and generally the supplements. Yeah, it's a difficult one and I get it when people get confused with it all. And I guess that's where somebody guiding them and saying take X, Y, Z is a much better option.
Yeah. Anything else that they should be doing while they're undergoing IVF?
I guess the stress management, the ensure you're getting movement in a day, those kind of basic lifestyle things to maintain, and what's your individualized stress management. So that is one that I think is you've got to find what works for you and what floats your boat as far as stress management, and that's not going to be the same as the next person. So,
no. For one person, that stress release might be meditation, and for the other, it might be an Achilles heel and might cause them additional stress trying to meditate. Exactly. And I speak from personal experience.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, I encourage people to find something that they can actually completely immerse themselves in, that allows that mind to kind of calm down, that type of exercise where you suddenly go, oh gosh, is that the time I've been immersed in this for an hour, and you're not thinking about other things. So trying to, whether that be the adult colouring or doing a puzzle or going for a walk in nature, trying to find something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and so what are some things that they should not do while undergoing IVF cycle?
I think it is the dabbling and not being honest with everyone around. I think where they might not be telling their IVF clinic what they're doing, and they might have heard somewhere that taking something is good and trialing. I think transparency across the board is always the best approach to take. So what they also shouldn't be doing is taking anything hormonal. That is a very there are some herbs and nutrients that you can get out there that really influence the hormones, and that is something that is very you have to have the specialist on board and the naturopath knowing exactly what they're doing, and everyone knowing and understanding and consenting and before considering anything like that. Because
absolutely, because I guess you're going in for surgery and as well. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they said that they had gone to someone and were on a blood thinning, some sort of a vitamin or multivitamin or something that had the ability to thin your blood, and she went for her egg pickup and they nicked her, and she started bleeding and they didn't know why that happened. So yes, you're very right, and it needs to be a whole of you're all in it together. Like, everyone needs to be communicating. Yeah, no, that's really good advice. So making sure that everyone is across everything that you're doing, and you're not kind of, we're not saying don't do it, but just make sure that everyone is aware of it, because you just don't know. You've got so many experts that are, doing what they think is right for you, but it might be actually counterproductive.
Yeah, exactly. And things change so much. There are, what you're doing one week in IVF is very different to the next, and the clinician's goals at that time may change, and so the naturopathic care needs to kind of support that, not do anything to counteract it.
Yeah,
a lot of money, there's a lot of invested in it financially, emotionally. You only want to do things that are productive.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Anything else that they should stop doing while they're on their IVF cycle?
As far as stop doing, Yes, and I just, yeah, no, I would just stay away from things that you're unsure about, and just ensuring that the support networks are around you as much as possible. So I guess stop doing things that make you more stressed, that there is an option of reducing. I know
Yep.
there's life is life, and there's some things we can't avoid, but as much as possible,
Perfect.
creating.
What about exercise and things like that? What's your view on exercising while you're in cycle?
Yeah. So really, whatever was your previous exercise routine, as long as it's not particularly strenuous, is okay up until egg pickup. And then I would say, however, if you're starting to feel bloated and things like that, it would be just listen to your body and take it right down a notch. So I encourage continuing movement of some kind, but just really tuning in with your body. But then once egg pickup happens and embryo transfer happens, then from there it needs to be, again, that just gentle movement. And so many people think, I've got the embryo in, I just can't move, I've literally got to lay on the bed, legs up the wall or something like that. And it's not the case, as long as you've been given the okay from the IVF unit that there's no other reason why you particularly have to rest. Then it's okay. Once there's a kind of established pregnancy, and again, if there's no complications or issues, then continuing, exercise is a really important part of a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great advice. And it's a very important part of a healthy mind and healthy body. Absolutely. Anyway. Absolutely. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Now, Caroline, how can people get their hands on your download in relation to reducing toxins?
So on my website, which is www.sagenaturopathics.com.au. There is the pop-up on there. It gives you the opportunity to get the download, and then get the newsletters and so forth if you wish, to keep up to date with what's going on.
Yep, excellent. Love it. Thank you so much, Caroline. Awesome advice in terms of what they should be doing and should not be doing during their IVF cycle. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, if you like this interview as much as I did, make sure that you give it a little love as well. Give it a like, share it, and make sure you subscribe to this channel as well, because this is just one of many fantastic interviews as part of the Infertility Unfiltered series. So thanks for watching.